welcome back to Handmade Not Hallmark. Today I've got this easy, simple, and clean card featuring some really great dies from Simon Says Stamp. This card is super easy to create, takes no time at all, and I really hope you guys enjoy, so let's get into it. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get my background ink blended here, and I do apologize if you hear any hoots and hollers in the background. The kids are out playing some games with Dad today, so if you hear any noise back there, they're just having a good old time. So anyway, I've got some Bristol Smooth cardstock here, and I've got my Distress Oxide inks, and I'm going to ink blend on this cardstock, and I'm only going to do it here on this top half because the rest of it is going to be used, you're not going to see any of it. So I am using Shaded Lilac and Spun Sugar. These two colors go together beautifully. I think it makes for a fun, soft winter sky. I discovered this color combination, I think last year or the year before, and I really think it does give that beautiful, soft, early morning winter sky, and it is one of my favorites, and it just lends itself for a really fun and simple card. So I was going for really clean and simple with this card today. I didn't want to add anything super extra or do anything a little too crazy. I did do a little bit with some vellum, but other than that, this card is very clean and simple. I've got a simple stitched hillside here, and I'm going to cut it out of just some nice 110-pound Simon Says cardstock. And I'm going to run it through my machine just so I have a nice hill to work with. And I'm also going to die cut my little village here. This is from Simon Says Stamp's newest release. This is from CZ Designs, and it is the Winter Village die set. Like I said, this came out, it might have been Stamp Timber. I can't remember rightly. It could also have been their November release. I know it wasn't December because December just started. But either way, this is a beautiful die set. Really simple and clean. I really like CZ's die sets. And so I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to poke out all the little windows here. This didn't take a whole lot of time, but I did cut some of that out there so you guys didn't have to watch me cut all of those little windows out. Once I had all of those pushed out, I took some vellum and I wanted to make it look like the windows were kind of glowing with a little bit of light. So I just took some vellum here and I scribbled on some of my Copic marker, one of my brighter yellow colors. Again, this is a completely optional step. You definitely don't have to do this, but I didn't want to really see the purple in the background or the pink behind the windows. I really wanted it to look like actual windows. So that's why I decided to put the vellum behind it. And I just, again, got a little piece here and I just cut strips out and adhered them to the back of each of these little die cuts. And it looks really vibrant on the back, but when you flip it over, it does look very muted and soft. And that's the whole theme of this card, was just to kind of go very soft and simple. If you wanted to keep it even simpler, don't do this coloring step at all. But again, I didn't want to see any of that color behind the windows here. So you can see I'm just adding this in. And it really didn't take too long to do this. It's just a little bit tedious and time consuming, like not time consuming, but just a little bit tedious to get it all lined up perfectly. But in the end, I was really pleased that I did it. It really made for a really fun effect and it looked really nice. So just have to go through and get it to fit here. And again, I think it really looks nice. This would be fun with one of those light kits that you can get. I think it's called Chibitronics. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. But if you did a little bit of light behind each one of these, or just behind the big church windows, and like you had like the button like behind the Merry Christmas, I think that would make for a really fun card. I've never done a lighted card before. I've done a few obviously interactive cards where they move and all those sorts of things, but I have yet to do a card that has any kind of like light up things on it, which I think would be fun to do. Maybe sometime in the future I can get into that, but I think this card would be really pretty with something like that. This would be really pretty as like a shadow box. I know a lot of people are getting into those, doing like the home decor with this. Be really pretty in a shadow box. So once I had that all done, I wanted to get my church put in place before I did anything else, just so I knew where it was, because it is the biggest die, and I wanted it to be in place so I could kind of figure out where I wanted to place the other dies. And once I had that in place, I decided to put my greeting on here, and my greeting comes from the Simon Says stamp Christmas set. It is the inside, excuse me, it is the Inside Christmas Greetings stamp set. This has got a lot of really fun greetings. I wanted something really simple and elegant for at the bottom of my card. And so they have this really fun scripted Merry Christmas. And I wanted to stamp that down in silver, just to add a little bit of difference. If you didn't want to do silver, you wanted to keep it super simple, you could easily just stamp it down with that pretty purple that I used earlier, or just black as well, but I felt like black was going to be a bit too harsh. You could do a soft gray color as well, just to simplify the process a little bit more. And I do apologize if you guys hear a lot of shouting. They are playing Mario Party, and they get pretty competitive, so I do apologize if you guys hear any of that going on in the background. So I'm going to stamp that down using some Versamark ink, and I'm going to be using some Brutus Monroe Sterling embossing powder to do that today. A really pretty silver color. I don't pull it out as often as I should, but whenever I do pull it out and I use it, I remember how pretty it is and that I should use it more often. So once I got that all done, I am going to hit it with my heat gun. I'm going to try my best not to hit it too much in one spot so my paper doesn't warp, because this is the actual front of the card. I'm not going to be cutting this away or anything, so I'm trying to keep it from warping too much. So I'm just going to keep that heat gun moving and just get that embossing powder nice and melted. Once I have that all done, I can go ahead and adhere the rest of my little houses. This would be pretty just like this, with just the church on the top. If you wanted to really keep it super simple, like when I did this and I lined this up, I was like, you know what, that church looks so pretty just by itself, but I took the time to do the other little houses and cut the trees out as well, so I might as well add them on here. This would, like I said, be fun. It's like a shadow box and create like a whole little village. Super pretty, which I think would be a lot of fun. So I'm just using that Barely Arts adhesive, and I'm just putting the smallest amount of glue right at the bottom of each of these elements, because I am going to add a bunch of foam tape later to kind of give this a little bit of dimension and some shadow behind it. Again, just to add to the effect with the vellum, just to give it, again, some depth, because it is such a one-layer card. If you didn't want to do that, you could easily just adhere it down nice and flat, but I decided to be a glutton for punishment and cut out a bunch of foam tape to fit behind these little houses and trees. I did cut that portion out of the video of me cutting out all that foam adhesive, just because I did get a little bit frustrated, but in the end, I'm glad that I did it, because the card did turn out beautifully, and I think it looks really, really nice with that little bit of dimension. And that little tree right there in the middle of those two houses, I think it's just so beautiful. Super fun. So here you can see that I've got all of the adhesive taken off of the back here, and I'm using my MISTI to help me line everything up. I did this in my last video and it works out so well, especially when you've got two crisp corners, and I want to really make sure I get that in there right, because I am using that foam adhesive, and once it sticks, it's down. You can't move it too much without ruining anything. So my one tree is a little bit crooked, but you know, in nature, trees don't grow perfectly straight, so I just decided to leave it, and I was really pleased with it, and I love the way that it turned out. And I'm just going to get a card base ready here. I'm going to be using a top folding A2 size card base. This is 110 pound cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and I am going to stamp a greeting on the inside. The greeting actually comes from an older Mama Elephant set. I don't know that it's available anymore, but you could use any greeting, or you could definitely leave it blank on the inside. And at first I stamped it down with some fog ink from Simon, but it was a bit too light. It didn't show up as brightly as I was hoping for. Again, I'm trying to keep everything soft, but the fog ink was a bit too soft for this. So I did go back in with, I believe it is gravel gray ink from MFT, and restamped that down. Once I was happy with that greeting on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and adhere my main panel to the front of this card base. And I'm going to use that same barely art adhesive that I've been using. That you could easily use tape runner or Tombow glue, anything that you like. Barely art has just been one of my favorites for this year. It grips really well, and it gives you just the great adhesive. Gonna get that adhered down, and I was gonna go in and add like snowflakes to the background. I was gonna, do all the things. I was gonna add some glitter maybe to the tops of the houses, like snow. But then in the end, I decided just to leave it be. It's beautiful the way that it is. I just love the simple and clean look, and this card speaks for itself, how beautiful it is. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and taking the time to stop by my channel and watch it. If you did like the video, please consider hitting that like button as well as the subscribe. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying all of the content that I bring to you here on my YouTube channel. Again, I appreciate you guys stopping by and taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I hope it's inspiring to you, and I will see you again soon in the next one. Bye!
On screen, I've got a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos at my YouTube channel.